Cap.
Shall we?
Stephen Jackson and D'Angelo Hall are back with us.
Cartier.
As you all know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer, Marcellus, here. We're going to take a deeper look at a big issue in the world of sports. Got a special cap for Marcellus. Bring it in, Darnell.
That Darnell.
I see you, baby.
Is that Cap Cartier too?
Man, you already know
Okay,
how
all right. I like that.
I got to complain about your Nike gear. You need to be in Adidas.
What?
All right. Let's move to Kyrie Irving,
Got him.
who is having a rough year in Boston and is now reportedly detached from the Celtics. Just don't tell him that. The point guard just went on a rant saying nobody should question his workload and complaining that he doesn't want to be a celebrity despite starring in the Uncle Drew movie last summer. But he's not the only superstar athlete looking a little delusional these days. Antonio Brown has been melting down in the media for weeks, dyeing his mustache blonde, posting weird workout videos, and saying he doesn't need football and has nothing to prove. All of this to me is predictable and expected. The more money and celebrity that gets poured into sports, the more these young guys are going to struggle. And a lot of times, again, trust me, I would have loved to have made the money, would have loved to have been a pro athlete. But to some degree, I'm happy I didn't go through that process of being young, showered with all that wealth and attention. I think it can damage you and make you a little bit delusional.
I look at these two guys as exceptions, outliers to what the general rule of when a young athlete gets money, fame, stardom. They typically do the right things with it. And I'll give you some examples, but it's funny, we're all victims of selective perception. And you see life through the lens you choose.
Right.
And it's just that simple. You could be in a bad neighborhood and see good things. You could be in a good neighborhood and see all the issues. It's just that way of life. So when you look at these couple athletes, these two, you can say, oh, that's the way it is for that generation. But I'll give you some names and examples and know a lot of these guys personally. Great citizens, great guys of character. Aaron Donald, never heard anything bad about him. DeAndre Hopkins, damn, you can't even get him to talk on the field. All these guys have gotten paid, re-signed, big money. Mike Evans, Khalil Mack. Let's go to basketball because there's more stardom there. Big Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, other than a little issue in the locker room with his teammate, and that wasn't necessarily on Cat. We know what that story is. Joel Embiid, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, if you want to go 30 years old to 30 years old, and Russell Westbrook. These are guys that are just upstanding. I mean, and I could keep going, but it gets boring because more guys are doing the right things, but there are some outliers
Before
that
y'all
sell the
jump
story.
in, before y'all jump in, I just want to push back and say
Okay.
I'm 51 years old.
Yeah.
And dealing with a modicum of AB's money and fame or whatever attention. I struggle. And so, again, it's all just to what level. I think they're the extreme version of the struggle, but I do think fame and money create some level of delusion. So Aaron Donald may be doing all the right things, but he may have some struggles that we just don't know about.
Yeah, and that's my beef with you, Marcellus. I feel like you're picking the exceptions to the rule in the positive sense.
Okay.
Like all the guys you've named, you're right. They are exceptional people. They're the kind of people you want your kids to be like. Yeah. But I feel like for the majority of us athletes, we are a little delusional. And the more money you give us, the more delusional we're going to be. When I first got in the league, I was drafted at 20 years old, top 10 pick. Man, I walked in that club like, hey, man, can I get in here? Can I get in here? Can we check your ID? I'm in Atlanta. No. All right, my ID. I knew I wasn't 21, but hell, I just seen Bow Wow in here last week. So surely I can get in here, right? Nah, I hadn't made enough plays, is what the guy told me. So I'm okay. I got you.
I'll be back.
Next week I walk in with Bow Wow, and I get in the club.
That's a play.
But I left that club saying, man, do you know who I am? How many times have we said that? How many times have you said that when you couldn't get in a place or somebody didn't know you or you're waiting outside too long? As athletes, we are delusional because we get that money at such a young age. But it's not just athletes. It's doctors, it's lawyers. I mean, I've been waiting in restaurants and seeing guys stepping out of Bentleys and Rolls Royces who were educated professionals feel as though their money affords them certain things that normal people, I guess they feel like shouldn't have. And so it's not just the athlete. It's anytime you give anybody money, they feel like rules don't apply to them because for the most part as a society, that's what we've been taught. Look at the president. Like, money doesn't apply. When you have money, you can get out of a lot of sticky situations that normally you're not supposed to be able to get out of.
I'll look at it on the flip side. You know, I'm always going on the other side. It's an old saying, bright lights will turn you into a monster. Mm-hmm. And that's true. But if Antonio Brown says, I don't need football, if he done everything right with his money, respect that. Why is it a problem?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If Kyrie says, I don't want to be famous, if I want to make a movie because I created a character named Uncle Drew and make money off that movie, if I want to do that and just play basketball and not be famous, what's wrong with that?
Okay, let me ask you this.
What's wrong with that?
Respect my body of work and putting yourself on the same level as LeBron James and, you know, no one should question me, respect my body of work. He ain't LeBron James. That's delusional.
What does it have to do with being famous, though? He said he don't want to be famous. He want to play basketball. That's all he wants to do.
I get it. But my point is, because he's been showered with so much money and attention, he feels like he's on the same level as LeBron James.
All the players in the league is spoiled. Mike Beasley going at the coach. He don't even play. So all of it ain't just them.
Yeah.
The whole league is spoiled at this point.
On a football field, in a football locker room, from that first guy who's the quarterback most likely in a lot of organizations to that 53rd guy who's probably, you know, struggling to make a roster, who's probably going to get cut at some point through the season and brought back on the practice squad, they all feel as though that they are the best thing since sliced bread. And so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me to hear Kyrie Irving, who actually has a lot of game, I should say, and has some credentials to feel as though, heck, yeah, I'm on LeBron level.
Why shouldn't he feel like that? I just told you yesterday, I wouldn't
feel like that.
I wouldn't say Kobe better than me.
Right.
We all know his career and everything, but I wouldn't say that. As a man, as a NBA player who scored 13,000 points in my career, I would not say that. I know he's had a better career, he got more championships, but I wouldn't say that. He's supposed to believe in himself.
And you know something I wouldn't say, and I have to push back on you, D'Angelo? I have never uttered out of my lips to anybody in any situation, do you know who I am?
Yeah,
because you know
that.
why?
Never did that.
I already know who I am.
I've done
And if
that
you don't
several
know,
times.
you know what? The party don't start till I'm there. And if the party happened and I ain't go there, it wasn't really a party. I'm always like, my confidence inside here is so grand that I ain't got to throw it on you because then to me that shows weakness. Yeah. So I'm not dissing you. I'm just saying I've never been in that position where if I've been slighted, I've been like, hey, we're going to look past you or we're going to go somewhere else. And all I sit there and say, oh, that get back going to be great. Because then when you finally recognize it's a different animal.
But that's why I have patience with a lot of these young kids because I was in those shoes.
Yeah,
I was thrusted into that limelight at such a young age and had success.
Yeah.
And so I know what they're going through. That's why when people beat up on Odell Beckham, like I defend him because he's the same dude who I didn't know from anybody who heard that my twins liked him and called them on FaceTime and left him a message.
Yeah.
So for me, like that dude is gonna forever be a ride or die with me because I'm gonna always have his back for doing something like that. But that's what the average person doesn't see. They see the tantrums on the sideline, which, like I said, I feel as though I've been in that situation. I've done dumb stuff through my whole career. And so, you know, that was one of the dumb things. But I'm like,
I knew you when you
we're
played.
all
We
young
hung.
and immature.
I get it.
We do those.
Okay.
Marcellus, let me say this, and I don't say this I'm not trying to say, oh, look, my way is better or blah, blah. But there is something to, you said just now that you've never said, you know who I am.
Right.
And I can say that I have, for the same thing, I've never said that to anybody.
Okay.
But the reason why is different. And it's because literally I make it a point to try to never be better than anybody else.
Same here.
And so
Yeah.
it's in my mental makeup every day to remind myself, it don't matter how much money you got, it don't matter who recognizes you. And so when I go, I've had friends, particularly female friends, you need to tell them who you are. You just don't let people know who you are. And we should get a table at Mastro's when you blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, nah, I just don't work. I don't move that way. I would rather sit and stand.
We did have the fat table when you took me to Maestro.
Every time we had the fat table now. Because they start moving forward.
We had the fat table
I remember
now.
that. Yeah, you know what's so funny? I do the same thing, and people always say that to me. And I say, I don't compare. I prepare. And I get it. So I've been in Vegas before. My table's here, and somebody in front of us, and they like, who that? And my boys hit me. Man, why your table ain't in better place than theirs? I'm like, dog, that's not even entering my mind. But you know what? I am processing in my head like, oh, I know I'm somebody, and I ain't got to flex
Yeah.
that.
I lied. I have said it. When somebody tried me the wrong way, you must don't know me.
Yeah.
I said it that way.
I know, but
Yeah.
that's
a whole different lane.
That's a whole different
way.
that's
Right,
a different
right,
lane.
right.
We
That's a whole
can't go.
different-
This is a
Okay.
family show.
All right,
Yeah, that's different. Because
I always go back to
we're forking the road kids, man. This thing could have went off the rails easily from our upbringings and from what we had to deal with. So I think that's what keeps us humble. But yeah, I had cocky teammates.
I'd rather us
Yeah.
have money problems than not have money problems.
How many times did we have a teammate that wasn't the best, didn't make a ton of dough, and still was cocky?
Yeah.
I played with dudes like that, so
Yes.
I don't know what's to blame for that dude, but there's a lot of cats like that.
All right, coming up, the Chiefs could be getting rid of some big stars after falling short of the Super Bowl. What are they